but let's just finish this up quickly. So we'll go ahead and add textures to the floor and to the room divider, so you know how to add textures to objects. Okay, all right. So for other ones, they are pretty basic. I'll show you how to add materials to, you know, to pretty much everything in the scene. Okay, so very quickly, let's start from the floor. All right, I've selected the floor, so I will go tap to edit mode. All right, so the thing now with this floor now is you have to, there's something called unwrapping. You have to unwrap this floor. You have to separate it from the whole building itself. All right, so for you to do that, for me to do that, I want it without the edge loops on the floor. So you know what, we added edge loops to cut the window, and it also affected the floor. So we want to remove the edge loops from the floor itself. So what I'll do is, with my edge still selected, I'll just select the edges. I'm holding down shift, selecting all the edges on the floor. Right? No, I'll deselect that one. All right, so I've selected all the edges. Make sure you select every edge. All right, so press X and come to dissolve edges. So what that will do is to take out the edge loop. Instead of, if you select edges, it will delete the edges and you'll be seeing through the bottom. So the one you will need to select is dissolve edges, and that will disappear. All right, then I'll go back and select my face, choose my face selection. All right, so when that is selected, all I have to press is, I'll drag this up a bit and press U to unwrap. So the way unwrap works is that when you unwrap a particular object, it's more like opening. Okay, take for example the human skin. All right, so for you to paint the skin paint the color of the skin on the human, you can't paint it like the way it is. So you have to open, like spread out the human skin then before you start painting. So the same thing applies to the building. So we have to spread out this floor, but the thing with this one is that it's already spread out, but we have to separate it so that when we are adding the texture, it's only added to the floor itself. So how do you do that? You press U on the numpad and select unwrap. It may look like nothing has happened, all right, but if you come to this particular part and select UV editor, you'll find it here. This is your unwrapped, floor. So let's dive right in quickly to our texturing. All right, so first of all, we want to switch this view to the material view. Right, so the one before, the icon before the render, so switch it to the material view. Don't worry, you're not going to be seeing in this view. You just want to use it in adding colors and material. So I'm just going to show you the basics, so you just go ahead and play and be creative with it. In this view, you may not see the effect of the light or the environmental lighting, so it's just basically for adding textures and all. All right, so first of all, we'll just select this base here, this bed base or whatever we want to call it, and add some color to it. So we'll come down here and select material. It's called material. So if you hover around, you will see it's called material. So you want to select new. I want to drag in. Oh Lord, help me. So you see, I'm going through the same thing, and it's assumed that we are all using a Windows system. Normally I would use a Mac, an Apple or a Mac, which is faster for me, but I just had to use this small one so that you can follow along. So I don't want to be calling command prompts, command and shift command, and you don't understand what I'm saying. So let me just stick to Windows for now. So having selected that, if you add new, we will want to come here. I believe that you've opened this already. If this is not open, your shaders editor is not open, you just come hover around here and select shader editor. Oh my god, they just took the lights. So I'll just hurry up and record this part. So if that is selected, you just come here and select objects instead. So it's the same settings here, but we just want to have more control over it. So when that is selected, you have to do a few tweaks with this. It's called the principal shader. It's called the shader, more like the feel and the look of the base of the bed. All right, so very quickly we'll change the base color to maybe a darkish, and by the way, you can render in this view. No, you can't render in this view. You have to use Eevee or Cycles, but don't worry. You just for the sake of this lesson, you can just render in this view and send, so I could see what you're doing. All right. So if Eevee is going to give you an issue, so you just render in that view. All right. So I gave it a darkish brown or a coffee brown kind of feel or color. Why is my system doing this now? Come on. Oh, I think I have other softwares open. I have Blender open twice and the recording up. Alright, so when that is done, we want to reduce the specularity. You don't have to understand every word. Maybe I'll just have a particular Saturday where I'll explain what all these things do one by one, right? So why it is important for you to use them. All right, so we reduce the specularity, increase roughness. So this metallic is to make it look have a metallic texture, right? So we will not want to bother. Oh, they brought back the light. Awesome, you guys are amazing. Oh god, what is all this? You know what, we're going to switch to the solid view. All right, we cannot come and kill ourselves. All right, I practice this with a much higher system, so I don't know why this is messing up. All right, so don't fret. So let's switch back to solid view and play with this, and it's still doing the same thing. Come on now, come on, don't disgrace me. Alright, it's back up, so would reduce this guy. You may not see the impact yet. Why are you doing this to me? Must you do that? It's beginning to piss me off. It can be so annoying, I know. And it went back. Kukuma release everything. Alright, you want to increase the roughness to reasonable amount. So I think that's pretty much it for this one. So we could switch back to, just reduce the specularity to like 0.2, increase the roughness to like 0.9, and we'll switch back to the material view to see how it looks. So you see the way our bed looks like. So we could do the same thing for this guy. Alright, I haven't added this one. You do the same thing for, you can see you guys are uploading your stuff. Sorry, I may not be there to read. So I can give this a bluish color. The reason why I didn't cut this part out is so you could see that it's not only your system that is going through this issue. Alright, so we want to increase the brightness a bit. You can turn this guy all the way down. Turn that all the way down, increase the roughness. Alright, I think that's pretty much okay for this basic way how to add colors. Alright, so I don't want to go into adding textures to the bed because our focus, you can do that yourself, but our focus is really the floor of this. So our focus is really the floor and the wall. Alright, select the building. So we'll tap to edit mode, go to solid view. Alright, remember I showed you how to remove edge loop. We removed the edge loop, we unwrapped. Alright, so the thing we are going to do is now add in textures. I hope you've downloaded your own textures. Alright, so we're going to be doing the texturing in this view, not in EV, so that your system does not crash on you. And always please always save your work. Always save your work. Alright, and make sure you turn off proportional editing so that you don't mistakenly pull a vertex or an edge or a face and it's proportionally following you. Alright, so I haven't selected that. We want to tap back to object mode and add some textures. So follow carefully. Alright, so just follow step by step because this is more like an algorithm where you're using creating amazing textures instead of wanting to do them manually. So this is, I don't know how to really explain for you to understand, but I think I'll just pick out a particular day and explain all these things in detail. So first of all, to add, we haven't added this already, so you select this, add material, add new material. This will be activated. You want to add texture, image check texture, not magic texture, not Kilompe texture, IESX texture, image texture. When that is added, you want to connect the color to the base. So haven't Having added your image texture, the next thing you want to do is quickly add the texture. You open, go to the folder where your textures are. So I named it floor texture, right? So you want to select the diffuse color. And once you open the image, if we switch to material, let's try material. Normally you switch to Eevee to see, what it looks like. So give it time, it's coming up. Alright, so as you can see, wow, beautiful. But unfortunately it added to the walls itself, but don't bother. I mean, I left it intentional. So what you want to do is go to your UV editor, tap to edit mode. With this floor selected, come here, press A twice until everything is selected. Then press S to scale. The reason why you're scaling is so that, like as you can see, if you go back to object mode, the texture is appearing big, it's too big. So realistically, this kind of floor textures are always small, right, are slim in nature. So you want to tap to edit mode. With your floor selected, scale it, just keep scaling till you are satisfied with the size you're seeing. So if you go back to object mode, you can see that you're having a good, you're beginning to have a good floor texture. So I want to do that again, just so that I'll kind of I think it's too small. Let's increase it a bit. Let's start back to object mode. I think this is okay, right? It's fine, it makes sense, but right now it's applying to the whole building. So what you want to do to remove the building from the floor, separate the texture from the building, is tap back to edit mode, right? While this is still selected, hold down Control and press I. It will invert the selection to the building. So when you do that, you just come to your materials panel and add new material. So when you add that, you click add a new one and assign this building to that new material. So when you click here, hold on, my system is giving me some vibe. He doesn't want me to do this hand pace. I don't know why I can't do this hand pace. What is going on? Come on. Alright, so you just click assign and it will assign the normal material to it. So you want to increase this to the higher white or whatever it's called. So when you tap back to object mode, in your materials, make sure you're in the material, not Eevee. If not, Naisabil. I mean, I was not there. Alright, so hold on, it's right. You can see our floor. So we are not done. So you go back to your shader editor. Alright, so so let's name this one our wall material. Then this is our floor. Right there. Give it time. So it's coming. These are things we face. Alright, so it may drag. Maybe if it continues, I'll just be cutting it so that you don't have to wait this long so you select this one and name it your floor, maybe texture or something. So it's good to always arrange and name stuff so that you don't get things twisted. So select your floor texture and let's make it realistic so that when I'm going to give you the go ahead and create the algorithm. So you watch how I created the node arrangement so that when we switch to Eevee, you will see exactly how realistic it looks, right? When we zoom in, and look at our floor. So we want to, have a nice view of the floor, right? So as that one is selected, we want to duplicate this guy and add a diffuse or a roughness texture. So press G to grab this one this way, press Shift D to duplicate, then come here and change, open the image and select roughness texture to add roughness to the texture. You know, when you look at realistically, when you see a surface of an object or maybe your table, if you bend, you will see some roughness on the on the table. So I want to connect this to the roughness node. So when you do that, bam! Wow, I thought this was going to only work in Eevee, but so far, man, this is good. This is good. Amazing. All right. So when you add that, I mean, I have not tried using it in materials. I always do it in Eevee or cycles, but this is amazing so far. So you're getting the point. You're seeing how realistic the room is. Is coming alive. So the next texture we want to add is the normal texture. So so don't worry, I'll show you how to do it. So just duplicate this guy again, open this guy and select the normal map. But for that normal map to work correctly, hold on, it's coming up. So having selected that, we want to add a bump map so that you see, there's never no smooth surface on this earth. So no matter how smooth you try to smoothen a surface, you always have some maybe some jaggedy, some roughness in it. So it's better done than talking plenty. So we want to add a bump map. So we go to vector. Sorry, animation, you have to know a little bit of everything. I mean, if you did physics in school, you will fully understand what I'm talking about here. So you want to add a vector, connect this to the normal. So hold on, it's coming. Alright, so let's connect this to the normal here and take this guy and connect it to the normal in the image. Wow, you're seeing it, it's coming alive, baby. So you can see our lights from outside, it's reflecting. I like this settings. Alright, it's coming alive. So the next texture we want to add is the displacement texture. I don't want to explain it, let's do it so that when you see it, you'll be like, okay, this is beautiful. So you're doing purely CGI right now. So I want to shift this guy this way. All right, so let's add, sorry, hold on. So let's duplicate this guy and add a displacement texture. So this is the displacement texture. So what you do is you want to connect the displacement texture, this dude, into the height, and bam! Ha! Trust me, I mean, depending on the kind of story you're telling, sometimes this kind of wood may be an outside, maybe a veranda wood where you have to have this kind of roughness on the veranda. So you may want to leave it like this, but this is a room, for crying out loud. I mean, there's no room that's like this. So we want to, reduce the strength, of this, of the displacement. So it has to have this subtle, look. Oh, come on, baby, come on, please, just don't disgrace a brother. Come on, man. This is a good, reduce everything. Oh wow, inside life. It's fine. Alright, the reason why it's having this look is because in the material, I think it's because it's in the material view. So I haven't added this now. I mean, we could stop here, right? We could stop here. Okay, and this same settings is the same thing you could do for the wall, but the wall is a bit different. Ah, sweet. So you can literally see how it's coming up. So I think it's still too high, so you can still reduce it a little bit. okay. So I think it's fine. This is okay. You could see the roughness is just so heavy. I mean, I think you can invert the bump, right? So you'll see now. Don't go press play. So just leave that in the way it did, Sam. So let's just try. I mean, this is we, trying things, trying what works and what doesn't, right? Come on, please don't do this. People are waiting for me. This is supposed to be starting in an hour. I still have the pillar to work on. Okay, it's fine. I think I'll stick to the old one. All right, haven't added that. So if we now switch to EV briefly, to be brief about this switching. Yeah, true. Somebody's saying it's hard to to grab, but you guys are trying. I mean, you guys are amazing. You guys are really trying. I mean, I must confess, you guys are really doing well. So let's switch to EV, or should we do the wall first? Because I don't trust this guy. I don't trust this guy at all. So I think this is fine. So I wanted to add ambience occlusion. That's the AO texture, but I think it's pretty much okay. So let's save. Don't forget. All right, let's select our wall. Remember, add new material. Okay, when that is done, all right, let's go back. So let's select the wall. So I haven't added the texture. The first thing I want to do is to unwrap. Remember, we unwrap the floor, so we want to do the same thing for the wall. So we tap to edit mode very quickly and select smart UV unwrap. So when you do that, just press OK. Come to your UV editor. No, I think that didn't work. So we want to select unwrap instead. So you want to tap to edit mode, select unwrap. So set object is God. Alright, so you tap to edit mode, Oh god. So you select, let's go to current. So having added material, so select your, you want to come to your UV editor, tap to edit mode. So while this is still selected, so it's okay the way it is, there's no point unwrapping it. So go ahead and add, you know, our texture. So remember, texture, image texture. Let's find our texture. So let's select our texture, find the wall texture. So this is the dude. I'm so sorry I didn't really name this separately. So this is the first dude we'll use as our base texture. So all you have to do is connect it to base color. Connect this to the base color. And voila, it's big, the texture is big, so we want to, you know, just the way we scaled it, scale the floor. So I want to go to our UV editor and scale it. So I want to tap to object mode. Alright, so you're seeing the way our room is turning out. So I think we'll reduce the, you know, the displacement on this guy. But this is the wall for you. So the next thing we want to do, go back to our shader editor, just the way we did for the floor. So we want to add a roughness, duplicate, shift D to duplicate and add a roughness texture. So this is our roughness texture, alright, down here. So you add that and connect it to roughness. Alright, and there you have it. Ta-da! Our room is taking shape. So when you're creating the bed, alright, so it's pretty much the same thing, alright? So where did I get these textures from? So you just check out textures.com and you'll find it. Textures.com and you'll find these textures. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, you guys are amazing. So having added this, you know, texture, we want to also add the normal textures too. So you duplicate this again, select your normal texture. The normal is always this bluish, you know, type of texture. That's called the normal map. All right. I think there's something we failed to add during this process. We'll go back and add it, so that I think that's why it's having this feel. I'm going to correct it. I think I made a mistake in the first part. I'm going to do it here, but I'll complete it the other way. So you move this one this way. So first of all, we add a normal map first a normal map before the bump. I just remembered. So also go to vector again and add the bump map before the bump map. So the normal map, so it calculates, it takes the texture you've added and calculates it on, and what's the word, calculates the texture you've added on the image itself. So let's add that bump. Sorry, my system is really slow and I'm supposed to end this training latest by 9 p.m. So we add a bump texture, bump map. So you connect the color to the color here. Connect it here. Connect this normal to this normal. Alright? Then select the UV map. That's this UV. So it uses that. Then connect it back to the normal here. So now you can see, if you zoom in, you can see the roughness of this guy, right? And initially you were seeing the trees really reflecting on it, so now you can see your bed reflecting on the wall itself. So that's the correct thing we're supposed to do. We're supposed to add normal map before the bump map, then before we connect them all together. So for this one, we will not necessarily add a displacement, right? So we'll add an overlay. When we can leave it like this though. I mean, I think we should leave it like this, but adding an overlay is pretty advanced, so I think we should just leave it the way it is. All right, so let's go back to our floor texture and correct that error. So we'll add just add a normal map at once and drop it here. It connects to each other. So I think that's pretty much it for texturing, adding colors. So go ahead and play with it. Add the color for your bed, for the duvet, right? I don't want to go into too much detail with that. All right, so after this, let me quickly add an extra light to our scene, like a sunlight to our scene. Okay, now you see it looks better with that normal map. So let's select the UV map. It looks a lot better. Wow, this is nice now. So you can still reduce the strength to be a lot more subtle. All right, and that's pretty much it. All right, so that's it for this this tutorial. All right, I'm so pumped up. So go ahead and add textures for the for the duvet, add for the duvet, add for your table. So for the table is pretty simple. You may just want to add color. There's no point for texture, so that you don't waste too much time. You may want to change the color of the chair, just the way we assign. Remember how we assign? Select each part of the vertex, or each part of the chair, or you may just kind of leave it like that, the way it is. So you kind of get the picture. All right. Initially, I wanted to add a mirror, but I don't want to go. That's really advanced. So let's leave it like this. So with the way it is like this, you could render this. I mean, this is epic, really epic. It's a epic sorter. I mean, it's so full of peace. Right now, I can have peace of mind. So you remember, deactivate the overlay, and this is still, remember, it's still on our simplify. All right, it's still on our low resolution, so you want to deactivate it to have a higher resolution of the scene. All right, so let's come to view, hit render image, and bam, we have a render image is coming up. Give it time. So bam, we have a rendered image. I mean, I like this. I love this. I mean, we have a scene, and this isn't this realistic, right? So if you add your duvet, you just find a very, very nice texture. I'm going to drop the link to the sites where you could get, you know, image textures from, and the whole, as in the whole pack, plus the normal, the roughness, you know. So take time, practice. We'll be going into character sculpting, so it's important that you understand this phase, all right, before we go into, you know, character sculpting. All right, so just go ahead, create, keep practicing, don't stop practicing. All right, just keep at it, and you'll be the best at what you do. So see you guys, bye.